You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
We are TFR. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Out on that mic.
Sorry about that, brother. Is that better?
Ah, that's much better. No problem. Well, we are doing our debut episode of the Ironworx. The Ironworx was a little brainchild of the Iron Realm Media, which is a little group that we got together on Twitter. Let's see, we're all flat earthers there in the Iron Realm, which is probably not necessarily unheard of here on TFR. I do know that there's probably several TFR hosts here that are indeed living on a stationary plane. But we got together.
As we all are.
As we all have always been. But we got together on Twitter and decided we wanted to put together a little podcast. So I'd say a little over a year ago, we started putting out at least some content. And then around 9 months ago, we got settled in on Fridays. We dialed in on Flat Earth Friday Fringe Casts on YouTube. And we've been there for 9 months doing a weekly show every Friday at 10 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on YouTube. So
we were the forerunners of Flat Earth Friday, I believe, sir.
I believe you are correct. I think there's been several other people that have tried to hijack that hashtag. But yeah, we're definitely forerunners, I believe.
Well, definitely we appreciate the chance to be on here with all these great people at TFR. Shout out to Chris and Sherry. We appreciate the chance here. We are excited. We cannot wait to talk to people and tell them what we have discovered and help them discover their way through some of the madness in this psychotic world. So tonight we're going to touch on some of the craziness in the Vegas shooting. I'm sure you've heard about it. We're going to delve into it. We're going to get pretty deep in it, talk about some of the inconsistencies, talk about some of the latest information that's come out on Mr. Paddock.
Which I know absolutely nothing about, so I'm going to look forward to catching up on this because, well, with trying to get ready for the show and everything else that's been going on, I've not had a good chance to sit down and really look at any of the stuff that's really happened over there in Vegas. So I've just been hearing accounts sort of as I look up from my life and trying to get this show started. I would just sort of hear these little stories, and I'll tell you what, it's a lot of craziness out there. So I look forward to hearing this stuff broken down. I do believe we should have Rob from the Iron Realm Media to come on here in a little bit to help us break it down. He is our sort of false flag expert. So he's going to be able to help explain it to me because I'm a little dense sometimes.
That's okay. Density and buoyancy. Remember, that's what it's all about.
Density and buoyancy. Well, got that covered. Excellent. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, before we delve too deep, I guess we should give everybody a little background on who we are and why we feel we have, some say in any of this, that we have a clue about what's going on in this crazy world around us. We didn't just wake up on the flat earth. We've been at this, it's almost been 3 years for me, coming up in February, March, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
So pretty crazy that it's already been that long. It seems like it was just yesterday that I was still spinning and flying through the galaxy and holding on for dear life and hoping I didn't get wiped out by some asteroid from the beyond or invaded by the little green men or, some other scheme that they've been scaring us with since we were all kids.
Mm. Well, I thought we should just give a little background on ourselves individually first. So I'll just take a few minutes. My name is Josh Corey. I just turned 40 last week on the 1st of October. I have a son who is 16 and just got his first girlfriend. So this is a new experience for the both of us. I've been flat earther for probably about 3 years as well. I've been into conspiracies it's probably been sort of ingrained in me since birth. Sort of the questioning authority has always been an issue for me. let's see. I've been married once. I am now divorced. I'm a cook by trade. I've been working in commercial kitchens for over 25 years. And I just recently decided to put on a pair of headphones and get behind a microphone and see what broadcasting feels like. So we've been doing that for a little over a year. I really tend to have a pretty unique outlook on life, I think, although I'm sure everybody thinks that. But from my point of view, I see everybody running kind of a similar program, all running around the same maze. And I'm just chilling back, eating my cheese, wondering what the F they're doing. But I don't know that I'm really qualified to talk about much of anything other than the fact that I'm willing to talk about it. I've always been very, not necessarily confrontational, but I've never been afraid to speak my mind and to put you on blast if I think you are not being intellectually honest. I will definitely call you out on it. So at the very least, I think that's why I should be here and why I'm glad to be here talking to you fine people on Truth Frequency Radio. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit?
It's a long path of many, many trails. I have a son as well. He is 21 and recently has started dating a new person. So that's an interesting coincidence in our life. As we know, there are no coincidences. Let's see, watched the first moonwalk at 2. From that point on, decided to be an astronaut myself. I was the ultimate NASA fanboy. I watched every mission from that point on, I guess up until they killed the second crew, we were told, over Texas as they re-entered and broke apart. Not too many years after that, I found out that at least 6 of the 7 astronauts who allegedly died on the Challenger are still alive, some of which are still using the same name, interestingly enough. I pretty much, if there's a path of interesting out there information, I've gone down it. I spent a lot of years in the UFO research field. I went to many conventions. I got to know some of the names out there, Stanton Friedman, Whitley Strieber. I was good friends with Lloyd Pye. I had a chance to actually examine the Star Child skull at length. I used to do a little public access show in South Louisiana called Reality Check on a public access channel there, and with a friend, and we used to delve into just about anything from health. We actually talked about fluoride back in the mid-90s, early 90s. We talked about Face on Mars. We talked about UFOs. I mean, you name it, we were into it. I thought I had a pretty good beat on some of the stranger things in the world. And then suddenly I see all these anomalies in my sky, which gets me to looking at some things like lunar waves and stuff like that on YouTube, and there's flat Earth videos. And of course, I'm like everybody else, knee-jerk reaction. Are you kidding me? It's 2015 and people are still thinking about that stuff. I mean, come on, man. That can't be happening. And so I watched the first one and remember all these questions I had when I had taken astromechanics and orbital celestial orbits that do not work, didn't make any sense, didn't, things like aphelion and perihelion. We won't get into all that. It's technical. That's for another show. But I had a lot of questions that some of my professors had a lot of trouble answering. And so here these questions were being asked by some of these flat earthers, and there you go. Here we are, almost going on a year doing this thing on Iron Realm Media. We met up with some crazy guys on Twitter, a bunch of great guys. We kind of have come to consider them family at this point. We're going to meet one of them here in just a little while, Rob. He's from Australia. We have an interesting crew. You're going to get to know them throughout our time here on TFR. Some great guys with a lot of brain power who are really looking at some questions in our world. And hopefully we'll get you to questioning. And that's really all we want you to do, is to question some of the things you've been told by some of the authorities in the world. We've decided to question those things, and we've decided that truth should fear no investigation. So we're going to do that. We're going to investigate the truths of our world and find out, are they the truths or are they the lies that just kind of hold this society together?
And this isn't our first foray into media, actually. Aside from Walt being on the radio in a previous slave job.
Yeah.
As far as flat earthing, this wouldn't be our first time flat earthing on the media. Walter here has been on more than one interview. One with Alexis Kleiman over at Mike.com.
Yes.
You've done
And there was the Hitchhiker's Guide to Disbelief. That was actually the first Flat Earth interview I did early. It was after Christmas in 2014 going into 2015. And it was basically my first attempt at trying to wrap my head around this in a public forum, answer some questions, had a lot of the typical, knee-jerk reaction. I mean, that's what they've pretty much bred into us from school, from the first globe they sat down on the desk and tried to make us believe that people were holding on for dear life there at the bottom and spinning around and water was curving and tons were being held by gravity while little butterflies floated around and smoke and fireworks just drifted away into the sky.
Yeah, they've got some great stories, don't they? Lovely, lovely stories. So yeah, my first time hitting the media was right about the time that Neil deGrasse Tyson went on his attack on B.O.B. and did his big now infamous mic drop as his best explanation for gravity. Anyway, I live here in St. Louis, and their number one drive time talk radio host, Dave Glover, was doing his going over the news bits and saw this thing on B.O.B. and NDT and was just doing a little thing on it with his producers and the people in the studio, and they were all just kind of starting to riff on it, and I could just tell they were getting ready to just take the wind out of it right away. So I jumped on my phone, stepped outside my comfort zone and called in, and just all I wanted to do was to tell the call screener to tell them that the flat earth just isn't easily dismissed. But naturally, he wanted to put me through. So I went on air and was talking to Dave Glover and told him, the flat earth, you can't just laugh it off and dismiss it because there's a whole lot to it. This is a pretty in-depth study. We're not just lunatics here. So they had me give a little spiel about the flat earth, and I guess they were so impressed they wanted me to come in and give a more in-depth, detailed, exhaustive, comprehensive analysis of the flat earth. So the next week I came in live in studio and got to talk with them. And again, I guess they were impressed enough to bring me back basically every single week for one of their little bits called Paranormal Tuesday. Not necessarily flat earth every time. I'd hit some of the more recent sort of conspiracies that have been going on that they may not have been tuned into. But I did it all with the bent of a flat earther. So I think just that idea of seeing somebody process information that's not living on a ball, I think was very interesting to them. I was on there for, about the year. Then Thanksgiving break hit, and that was the last pretty much I'd heard of them. But I think that's a story for another time. I think it was probably had quite a bit to do with the last subject that I chose to speak on. So yeah.
And we'll talk about that topic another show for sure.
On another show, not our first. That way.
Definitely. We don't want to hit the ball out that hard. Well, I'm sure, as most people who are tuned in to Truth Frequency Radio, with a world that has been built on lies and propaganda, history that has been written by the winners, a TV, a box in every house, a screen in every face that pretty much tells everybody what to think, what to buy, who to believe. The lies, the system that has built up, I think a lot of the people listening and, you and I and the guys in Iron Realm Media, we were looking at those lies a long time before Flat Earth fell into our lap. I myself can remember looking at the Kennedy assassination in junior high, literally looking into that as a junior high student and doing a report on it. As that evidence mounted and piled up and changed and has altered. And even till this last couple of years, looking into some of the deeper conspiracies that Flat Earth tends to lead one into digging into, I think that's the granddaddy of them all that got me started anyway, was the Kennedy assassination. What about you, Josh? What got you on the road to really questioning the world around you?
Oh, I'm trying to think what it was. I'm sure it was something. I'm sure 9/11 had a part to play in it. But like I said, I've always been questioning even the idea of, I remember in elementary school, the idea of Bigfoot was never impossible for me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Were never impossible.
I love it.
So I've always been able to sort of hit that. But I think what finally set it off was when I first started learning about the Philadelphia experiment. And that just sort of opened so many different doors. And from there, I found John Hutchison and sort of free energy. And just the world sort of expanded once I really started to sink my teeth into what was, even back in the late 80s, early 90s, a very superficial look at what was the not the Philadelphia Project, but
the Philadelphia experiment.
Philadelphia experiment. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yes, that was a book I read in junior high as well. I read, oh my goodness, voracious. I mean, just literally before school, my mom taught me to read, and I was reading just anything I could get my hands on. And I mean, for some reason, I guess it being an era where you flip on PBS and there's In Search Of with Spock teaching you about the Loch Ness Monster and what have you. I tended to read that type of thing. Like you said, Bigfoot was never a doubt. In fact, we had a little period in, I guess, 77, 78 in my little town. I was growing up there in Mississippi where he popped up, he showed up and left footprints. And the few times we actually had snow in that part of the country, he showed up, left some footprints around. Of course, guys saw him, of course, in school, everybody saw him. So we decided it was time to form a little crew and go out and hunt Bigfoot down. We were ready. We were headed out, ready for action, loaded up with our little lunches, headed to the woods. Now, what were we going to do? 8 little 10-year-olds headed out to the woods to confront Bigfoot. Yeah, I can just see it. Oh my goodness. So I definitely read Pyramid Power, Von Daniken, the starter kit for all the 70s. I have about 10 years on you. I'm 50 this last year. So I have about 10 years looking into some of the craziness on you there, brother.
Ooh, what sucks is I'm a really immature 40. So
no, don't worry. Don't worry. I think that's an earmark. If you're not young in mind and young at heart, some of this stuff's really hard to deal with. It can really get you in a ugly, angry place. So
it really can. And I remember being on Facebook and seeing, I was kind of involved in the new resurgence of the law renaissance, the reawakening of this, what the law is, and separating it from the legality and things like that. And I was, I'm friends with a guy named Jack McKeag, and Jack has had a podcast, and he does a little thing called Liberty Aid, and he's all about getting out from underneath this false illusion of what debt is. So I know his big thing has always been the proof. If you say this is how you get out of your tickets, if this is what you say, how to speak to a judge, then show me the proof that this stuff works. So he's always been about show me the proof. So when he starts sending me links about the earth not being round and people think the earth is flat, that took me a couple weeks to sort of wrap my head around that, this wasn't a put on. This wasn't, sort of tongue in cheek, which is something I get a lot is, are you serious? Do you really think the earth is flat? Or are you just sort of, having a little fun, just sort of being contrary? But once I finally looked into it and saw that, no, if he's putting it out there, there's a very good reason he's looked at it, which was cause enough for me to look at it, which was cause enough for me to say, whoa, all right. So I guess the stuff that I thought I knew I didn't, I've got to relearn all this stuff. And thus began my foray into the flat earth, which has been nonstop ever since. So actually, thanks to Iron Realm Media and Truth Frequency Radio for sort of pulling me out of that flat earth rabbit hole that I was falling down and let me focus on sort of real life and focusing on the moment and doing audio production, video production, and things like that. So I'm not just all flat earth all the time. I do see a lot of people on Facebook and Twitter who sort of get very obsessed, I guess is a good word, very focused maybe, single-minded in their focus, and they spend beyond just the 2 or 3 weeks of rose-colored glasses with flat earth, and they've been at this for 6, 8, 9, 10 months where it's nothing but flat earth. They've lost their relationship with their better half. They've lost relationship with their family, their friends, and it's all flat earth, and they get very militant, and I could see myself becoming that person. So I just wanted to thank everybody for not letting me be that, and at least now I'm able to hear, talking to the fine folks now on Truth Frequency Radio, no longer just a listener.
Well, I think we go through that phase, man. I think that's part of it. I mean, you're humming along. You think you have a pretty good beat on things. You've looked into some stuff that most people won't even consider. So, hey, I'm an open-minded guy. I know what's going on. And then bam, this thing is like a 2x4 between the forehead. And you go through that phase of, okay, this is insane. Let me see. I'll prove this quickly. Then there's wait, where's all those pictures that I knew I had seen throughout my whole life? Especially being a NASA fanboy, I knew I'd seen views of the Earth a million trillion times. It's crazy. And then there's the phase of, okay, maybe there's an inkling of truth here. And you find that one thing that kind of makes the pit of your stomach fall away, and it's you're stunned. And then there's the hours of, sometimes literally days of no sleep, just digging and looking and trying to find that one thing that'll put you back spinning comfortably in your nice little padded walls and, holding on for dear life like the rest of the evolving apes here on Cinder Earth. So it's not, it's tough to grapple with. And if your better half is refusing to even look at it and then starts becoming combative about it, and almost to the point where I've seen it break up relationships. Myself, I lost a good friend, 20-year-long friend, over this information. This is all this is information. And that's all we really want people to do, is not take anything we say as right, correct, figured out. We're trying to muddle our way through this just like everyone else. And so that's what we're doing. We're digging through, and we want you to dig. We want you to go read. We want you to find these links we're going to drop, that we're going to let you know these people. We're going to introduce you to some people who are questioning, and let you decide for yourself. Let you look into the information. Because, you can tell somebody about any of this stuff. Flat Earth, false flags, Project Bluebeam, Project Paperclip, Project Fishbowl. You pick a project, and they're going to just laugh it off until they go dig and do the research for themselves. It's kind of like that. You can lead a horse to flat earth, but you can't make him fall off the ball. It's really something you have to find for yourself.
It really is. But I think everything should be that way. That's really the way you're going to form your worldview, is by coming into it yourself. The more you base it on other people's words, basically like I had done with the spinny ball model of the Earth, I'm just basing it on what I was told rather than actually coming to the conclusions for myself, actually considering other options, weighing both options, and putting forth the best one. I just took it for granted that my science teacher knew what she was talking about and took her word for it. But once I was able to break that conditioning and found it for myself, it definitely made it more concrete in my brain. And I think whether it's false flags, flat earth, Bigfoot, aliens, whatever it is, I think as long as you can sort of look at both sides and then come to an honest and genuine conclusion to whatever it is, more power to you. I don't care if we agree. You don't have to believe the same things we do. We just appreciate anybody putting forth any sort of thought. We appreciate thought. There's too little thought going on in the world, in the country today. So anybody that's living consciously, thoughtfully, that's what we appreciate. We got about a couple minutes before the break coming up. We're going to try to get Rob from Australia, from Iron Realm Media. great friend, brother of ours. Going to help us take a look at what's going on over there in Las Vegas. Again, he's in Australia. He's probably not going to have much of a better idea, but he is very learned in false flags. So he's got a good eye for some of the BS that they like to put out. So we're going to have him on hopefully after the break. Let's see. And then at the next hour, I'm still not entirely sure what we should do at the top of the next hour. We've been trying to get this show on TFR going for probably a couple months now. But I know what a busy man Chris Gio is. So we've just been kind of sidelined, waiting with bated breath, chomping at the bit, waiting to get our go. And he finally found some free time and got us up and running. And then it kind of hit us like, oh, geez, maybe we weren't quite as
maybe we need a show now. It's going to be a work in progress, as you are obviously seeing now. This time of the morning, I know some of you are headed to bed. Some of you might be getting up for work there on the East Coast. Hopefully you are and listening to us. Hope we get you started the right way. And if there's something that you want to hear about, definitely drop us a line. We'll give you the information. You can always get us at ironrealmedia@gmail.com. And then certainly there'll be information here on TFR and ways to link to us there and carry it with you, take it with you, listen to it, get up and go. We can't wait to share what we have found out with you guys, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter. We're Iron Real Media. We're also on Facebook, though that's probably our least used social media site. We have a page over there. You can find us Iron Real Media. Or if you want, you could just search Flat and Free on the Iron Realm. And iron is just our little Easter egg for Flat Earth because the periodic elemental symbol for iron is Fe. And, well, Flat Earth, Fe. Yeah, you see what we did there? Yeah. So that's why we're...
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are TFR, your protection from deception.
My name is Josh Corey. I'm joined by Walt Johnson. This is the Ironworx from Iron Real Media on Truth Frequency Radio. We are joined, I do believe, by our very own Rob. Rob, are you with us today? Nope, I don't think he made it. I think he was here, but we lost him. Shoot.
Uh-oh. Well, there you go. If it wasn't live radio, then it wouldn't be fun. So we'll get Rob back on here in just 1 minute. It'll, come on. He's down there holding on with his toes, trying not to fall off this thing, spinning away.
That's right.
What chance does he have? But yeah, we'll get Rob back on here in just a second. We're definitely... while I'm not going to say excited, definitely eager, I guess, is a word to use for this horrible situation. A lot of people, when you say false flag, assume you're just saying that none of it's real, nothing happened, no one was hurt, no one was injured, no one has been affected in any way by this. And obviously, it is not. That's not the case. A false flag is simply something that has been spun, a situation that could very well have a great percentage of truth behind it, but has been taken and spun into an agenda, spun into something that will then cause people to accept stuff that in a normal situation they would not even bat an eye at, laughing off or not accepting. It looks like we got Rob in, so before I drone on anymore, Rob, welcome, sir.
Hello.
We're glad to have you. There he is.
Hello. I'm on my iPad. Can you hear me properly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we can. You and your beautiful parrots.
No parrots. I've got the frogs. I've got the frogs in the background. It's night time here now, so there's no parrots around.
Well, that's unusual for us, Rob. We're not usually with you this day.
This is true. We're working 12 hours later than
That's
we're normally
great.
doing on Freaky Friday. I mean, Flat Earth Friday.
No, you called me on my laptop and my iPad, my laptop. Well, I tried to answer it on my laptop, but it wouldn't work. So I'd like to I'd rather be on my laptop. It's not working.
Well, that's all right. We can hear you, and it's growing pains, my brother. So, well, welcome. We're glad to have you. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, how you came to question some of the things in the world around you, sir.
Well, it all started for me probably 2009, I guess, 2008, 2009, with Building 7 falling down and seeing that for the first time and just being in utter shock. And then just going through I literally looked in 9/11 for 3 years. 3 years, I just couldn't get enough of all the videos that were coming out. Loose Change was coming out at that stage, and Charlie Sheen actually got me into it because I heard him on the radio talking about Building 7.
Winning.
Yeah, so Charlie Sheen, yeah. And I thought he was, obviously I thought he was a nut job. And so I went and had a bit of a look for myself. Just Googled or YouTubed Building 7. And from there it just went into the Sandy Hook was after that, then Boston bombings. Boston bombings is the most pathetic attempt to fool America and the world. They did a bad job of that one. And there's just been the steady flow of false flags and through the years, hasn't there? And but Flat Earth for me turned up about 2.5 years ago now. And I heard you talking about the first few weeks of finding the Flat Earth. You don't get any sleep. Same for me. No sleep. You're just cramming everything in. You're actually telling people what you're looking at too, and they're all looking at you going, you're crazy. I said, no, there's a few things in it. But then within a few months, you know it. You know it, don't you? So, yeah.
Yep,
so
you know it. You
just
got to fit the puzzle together.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few curveballs that have been thrown my way. But usually someone comes up with an idea that sort of explains it. But you've got to look into it yourself. You can't let people tell you how it is. You've got to go out there and have a bit of a look for yourself. I bought myself a camera because I saw all these videos of ships not sailing over the horizon, and I live in a pretty good spot, so I thought I'd do that myself. And for the next 5 months, I was getting as much footage as I could, and I got some good footage too.
Yes, you do, sir.
Yeah, and so that's about me in a nutshell, I suppose, and joined Iron Realm Media about 1.5 years ago. I think we got together, and about a year ago we started doing our own shows on Hangouts. So that's been good to meet like-minded people, rather than talking to people who don't share the same view and think I'm a nutter. Hey, I might be. It's not proven that I'm not.
You might be a nutter.
Proven that I'm not in yet.
Right. It's not Flat Earth that made you nuts.
Right, and just like Charlie Sheen, just because you're a nutter doesn't make you wrong.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Well, I don't see, if I was living down there with like 8-foot spiders and dragons running around eating, pterodactyls and stuff, I would be a lunatic as well.
It's not that bad. The koalas are probably the worst. The koalas, you got to watch those koalas. They'll just jump out of trees and attack you at the drop of a hat.
Nothing worse than a deadly.
Oh my goodness. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, whether it's 9/11, which woke a lot of people up, or Boston bombings, Sandy Hook. That's the thing about these false flag attacks, is they are meant to rip rights away from the people. But what it does is it offers a chance to wake people up, because they're not that good at these false flags. And when they do them, they get really cocky. And they just take so many liberties that it starts to become painfully obvious that it's a false flag. And the more they do these, the more they open themselves up to ridicule. And I think even this last one in Vegas, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and call it a false flag in Las Vegas that happened, I think has woken up more people right in front of my eyes than, say, Flat Earth. I mean, I've reached people on the radio, I've reached people on YouTube, and, we try to help explain and bring the Flat Earth to them. But to see it in the person standing in front of me who doesn't really subscribe to conspiracy theories, just really struggling over what's going on. Even if you take it at the government's word and base it on the official story, it calls into a lot. It's a lot to wrap your brain around. But when you start looking at everything, you can tell something isn't right. This, for some reason,
in Australia, Josh, we lost our guns 20 odd years ago now. Just off the top of my head, maybe 20 years ago, through a massacre that was called Port Arthur, where he seemed like a normal guy, but they portrayed him as having Asperger's, and he had an IQ of 60, and he apparently went in with a couple of guns and shot 32 people dead, most of them in the head. And we lost all our guns. Everyone was actually quite happy. I remember it because everyone was taking their guns in. They were paying you. They were paying you for your guns. A couple of $100 for 22s, and shotguns might go for $500. And I had a guy I was working with from Vietnam. He had an M40, I think it was, an M14. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, but and he got a couple of $1,000 for that. So people were doing cartwheels because the government was paying people for these guns, and some of them, they weren't being used anymore. So, but now we don't have our guns anymore, and I highly doubt America's going to go down the same road as us. Yours will hold on tight to yours. But even still today, they had on in the news that they still want to take more gun rights off us because you can be licensed. You can only have single shot rifles here. You can't have any sort of even semi-automatics here. You can't have that unless I think there's very rare circumstances you might be unowned, something like that. But it's farmers that are like one-shotters, and so they've taken ours. They've did the job. It only took one massacre here to do the job.
Well, Rob, I want to say that they're still taking your guns based on that massacre. I saw a headline just this morning. I mean, it's 4:30 in the morning, but I've already seen a headline that there were 51,000 more guns handed over and a second Australian firearms amnesty based on that 1996 Port Arthur massacre. They're still turning in their guns from over 2 years later.
Yeah, they opened it back up again, I think. Yeah. People are happy too. People see the news here. I'm telling you, we're more zombie-ish here than I reckon in you guys. We just follow. We're followers here in Australia. We follow the American news. We follow the American TV shows. Everything you guys do, we love it. And
well, our buddy John Savage was just telling us that the chefs in England are backing a move to eliminate pointed knives in England. This is serious, people. This isn't a joke. This isn't a skit on Saturday Night Live. They're removing pointed knives, and the chefs of England are behind this move. I mean, what's next? I mean, we'll have crayons, not sharp pencils to write with anymore.
Which leads us to this latest one, doesn't it?
Let's talk about some of the craziness of this.
With the bad crisis acting again. Did you see the bearded guy? Did you see the bearded guy?
My buddy?
Talking about his buddy and how his buddy got shot 3 times in the chest.
That's big Mr. J.
I mean, everyone's probably heard of that by now, but that is, if you look at that interview with him, the way he was smiling, the way that he was describing the scene, the way that he was describing his mate being shot, what he did with his mate, and then he turned up and visited his mate the next day who looked quite fine. He didn't have drips or anything like that.
Where was the blood?
Small bandage. He had a small bandage on his chest.
If this guy stopped 3 chest wounds bleeding. He would have blood on him. He couldn't leave the scene. They didn't let him leave before he did that interview. And then the first interview, he said that he got his buddy into an ambulance to get him out of there. But in the second interview, he said there was no ambulances because it was a fire zone. They wouldn't let the ambulances in. So his story in the first 2 interviews changed.
Yeah. I think they get caught off guard because they're not real professionals, and sometimes they might have the reporters throwing questions at them. They get these questions thrown at them, and they're not ready for them. So they have to think quickly, and because they're not professionals, they get it wrong. And they're probably nervous, and they can't use really good professionals because these professionals would have done jobs in other places and they'll get caught out. So they need unknown people to do these things, and they're not good enough to do the job.
Well, we've seen the ads. We've seen the ads they put out for these drills. That's what it's always, a drill that they're going to be partaking in as a drill. Come help out your government. Help people get safer by participating in this drill. As an actor, it's just a drill. And then suddenly it goes live, and that's what was actually happening the day of this event. There was a drill in Vegas for a live shooter. There was a drill, as always. There was a drill happening the day of 9/11. There was a drill for a bomber happening the day of the Boston bombing. So that's pretty much a consistency that is ongoing with this. So I'm sure that's how they have these horrible actors. I mean, like you said, they can't answer a question that comes off the cuff. They ask him how he stopped the blood, and we got him on a cart. We got my buddy on a cart. Did you ever hear his buddy's name mentioned in his mouth? If my buddy had gotten shot, I would be saying, Josh was shot, man. Josh is dead. Josh's chest got blown open. I'm covered with his blood. I mean, you'd be freaking out. Oh, it's so ridiculous.
I don't know a lot about guns. I've never, here in Australia, we're not a big gun country. But if you're shot with a high-powered rifle 3 times in the chest, you're in a fair bit of trouble, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, I've grown up in an environment around a lot of emergency room situations. My mother was a respiratory therapist. My sister was a respiratory therapist. I spent a lot of time literally hanging out of hospitals with them. And I've seen some horrible situations come through some halls of some emergency rooms. And, yes, there's tons of blood. It's not a clean thing at all, especially with the weapons he's alleged to use. And let's talk about those weapons. I mean, he carried hundreds of pounds of weapons through a casino up to a room. Some of them were like long rifles, shotguns. I mean, that was 22, 23 weapons. I worked in a casino for 6 years. I used to deal blackjack. And I can tell you, getting weaponry into a casino, through a casino, it wouldn't be a simple thing. There's the eye in the sky watches all. You literally know that the moment you walked into work, you were being watched every second from every angle, every conceivable angle. They knew what my cards were when I checked them from the cameras. The players couldn't see them, but the cameras could. They cover every aspect. They know everything that everybody's doing. So for him to have carried 23 weapons up to this room with footage everywhere, which we actually haven't seen any of that surveillance footage yet of him. He was allegedly there for like hours beforehand, actually gambling with his girlfriend's card. He was actually, racking up points, trying to hit hard on the casino, but planning to go shoot up, a crowd. It just doesn't really add up. I mean, he doesn't even fit the profile.
I saw a funny one today, Walt, with a news story that had come out that he was planning on hitting another stadium, Lollapalooza. Was going to be his next. It was going to be his next one. Was he really planning? Was he really planning on getting out of this one? They're just
trying to add to the story, is what it feels like. I just read a headline that says he was trying to get a room to an outdoor rap concert the week before. So they're just trying to set this up. If he's a person who is a well-traveled guy, which he is, he was retired, he was rich, he traveled, his girlfriend was from, I'm sorry, it may have been Indonesia if I'm wrong. I apologize. But he was well-traveled. He traveled around. Events here where I live in New Orleans tend to be in the areas where there's nice hotels. That's kind of how it's all set up, it's the economy. So for him to have actually gotten an attempt to get a room prior to a rap concert just seems like they're trying to play that up. I'm sure if you look back the week before that, he got a room at a place that there was no concerts anywhere in that state. So the fact that he was there setting up cameras in a casino's hotel hallway, he had them set up with a laptop so that he could see the police coming. He came to the room with like hammers to break out the windows. He didn't shoot them out. He was up there for almost an hour shooting into a crowd in Las Vegas, one of the most surveilled places in America. People walking around with cell phones constantly. Everybody, that has the cell phone footage showing the little flashing lights, not happening up on the 32nd floor. No, around the 4th floor is where the lights seem to be flashing when you hear the reports. Sorry, I'm getting a little riled up because this thing has really got me angry. I was up the night it all started. I was watching it happen. I was just seeing it unfold. And I knew where we'd be by this time this week. And sure enough, we are. Everybody's ready for gun control. Everybody's ready to just do everything we can to get these weapons out of our hands. Because, of course, if guns are made illegal, well, that's it. Problem solved. Criminals certainly won't be able to get weapons then.
Yeah,
all right, somebody else talk. I'm riled up.
I'm not a gun person. I watched the video, a guy with an AK-47 shooting non-stop. Just he'd empty a 30 mag round, then he'd put another 30 mag in, and it just kept on going. I think there was a couple of 75s in there as well. I think he threw in there, but he shot bullets for between 5 and 6 minutes with one gun. Obviously, this guy reckons he had. Well, the police say he had a few guns. But this gun caught fire after 500 bullets. The whole barrel was on fire by 500 bullets. Yeah. How many bullets? If he hit 560 people and, well, this guy's buddy got hit 3 times. So if we'll say that a couple of people got hit a couple of times, and then all the bullets that miss, how many bullets did this guy fire? And so if one gun gets caught, catches fire, and he was physically exhausted. This guy was he was an army trainer. He had all the camo gear on, and he was a seasoned professional. You could see that he knew what he was doing, and he was physically exhausted by the end of the 600 bullets that he had fired. He was physically exhausted firing them. Just hanging onto the gun with all the kickback.
Yeah, I am kind of a gun guy. I was raised with guns. I was a hunter as a kid. I grew up out in the woods. Did a brief stint in the military. I'm not unfamiliar with sort of assault style rifles. Yeah, the way I understand it is he emptied a 100-round drum right off the bat. The first thing he did was grab the biggest gun and basically pull that trigger and not let go until that drum was emptied. He overheated the barrel, which is, I guess it's pretty common if you are not a gun guy. If you're not familiar with guns, if you've not been around and just seen the TV shows, you reach down, you grab the biggest one, and you just pull the trigger until it's gone because you think that's the way it's done. If you've been collecting guns for almost 30 on the range, you don't just empty an entire 100-round drum at one burst. To get better groupings, to allow more control, and to keep your barrel from overheating. You don't empty a 100-round drum right off the bat because then you got to switch to 30-round magazines. And if you're trying to do that, now you're not shooting. Now you're having to change magazines. So if what you're trying to do is send as many bullets down range as you can, you don't clear out a 100-round drum at one trigger pull right off the bat. That's just not the way it's done. Anybody that spent this much time and trouble to set it up and to do all this planning would know better than to just grab the first 100-round drum gun and empty the first damn thing right out the window like it's nothing. Just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It seemed like brilliant planning. We were talking some beautifully planned operations, but the execution looked like it was done by some guy that was just thrown in there. And I think that's what's going to be ultimately the downfall, is just how out of place this alleged shooter was in this whole scenario. It's just not adding up.
Yeah. So,
and not only does it not add up, I mean, there's a lot of weirdness, if you will. Apparently there was a lady walking around 45 minutes before, her and her boyfriend, I guess, or a man who was with her, were walking around telling people in the crowd that they were going to die. Now, I'm sure she could have just been alone, not in the crowd, and that's her thing, going into a crowd telling everybody they're going to die. But it's a little strange that was something that she was removed by security, and because that's what she was doing, bothering people, telling them they were going to die in this crowd. And sure enough, allegedly they did. Do you guys know anything about the 4chan conspiracy site?
I'm aware of the site. I'm not aware of anything.
I check it out off and on. I tend to not get into it because it's one of those rabbit holes you can disappear into very, very deeply. But apparently about, 3 or 4 weeks ago, in fact, I think it was actually on September 11th, there was a user on 4chan. He just went by John, and he kind of made some posts that at the time really weren't that big a deal. But looking back, it's kind of one of those things, hindsight, it's always 20/20. It was basically, in fact, I'm going to read it verbatim. I just found that. I pulled it up. I don't want to misquote it. He said, "Look, I feel bad for some of you on this website, so I'll let you in on a little secret. If you live in Las Vegas or Henderson, stay inside tomorrow. Don't go anywhere where there are large groups of people. And also, if you see 3 black vans parked next to each other, immediately leave the area. You're welcome, John." Then, about just a few hours later, actually about 20 minutes later, he put out, it's called the High Incident Project. They want to make the American public think that places with extremely high security aren't safe. They are trying to create more regulations. You will see laws proposed within the next few years to put up more metal detectors and other security devices. Media and politicians will be saying places with lots of police need even more police. I can't guarantee anything will happen tomorrow, but Las Vegas is on their minds. Now, this was September 10th, and we know nothing really happened on the 11th, but it's kind of interesting that he was pretty specific about this type of incident happening in Vegas, and here we go. It definitely happened.
The drill was supposed to start on the Monday, wasn't it, Walt?
I'm pretty sure.
What all the actors were there for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's proof. So that's proof that there were many, many actors ready to go on the Monday, at least on the Monday. So they would have all been there, raring to go. So there's not much more you can say than that, is there?
Well, I think these drills that they run, it's just adding production value. We've got about a minute left before the break. But I think that's what they do. It's sort of this pseudo augmented reality where they can produce these things on the air sort of as they happen and overlay them with shots from these drills. So yeah, it's really hard to say.
I think what's really funny is that in the actual footage you can see in the cell phone, the person filming it at numerous times says, "I don't think this is real. I don't see anybody falling. And it sounds like blanks. And is that a paint gun? I mean, literally, is this going over the loudspeaker? I mean, you hear these things in the crowd. These are people in the incident as it happens, and they're doubting the authenticity of what's happening around them. So more over that while we're on break.
All right. You're listening to the Ironworx. My name is Josh Corey with Walt Johnson and Rob from Iron Rome.
Is your number one. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
The wicked ones obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
Welcome back, everybody. The Ironworx on Truth Frequency Radio. My name is Josh Corey, joined with Walt Johnson and Rob. We are all from the Iron Realm Media on YouTube. Check us out there. Check us out on Twitter at Iron Realm Media, or if you are so inclined, we are also on Facebook. Just search Flat and Free on the Iron Realm. We are talking false flags, specifically the the most recent Las Vegas shooting, and sort of some of the inconsistencies and the danger in trying to set these false flags in motion, because they seem to be waking up as many people as they are putting to sleep. Rob, what is the general consensus with what happened over in Las Vegas? Is everybody down there in Australia hanging on to the bottom of that spinny ball? Are they all buying this mainstream?
Yeah, they're buying it. They're buying it. They buy all of them. They don't. I'm the only one here. I'm the only one that I know of. I've got a couple of mates that they don't really watch the news anymore because they don't know what to believe. But all in all, like, I work with a guy today that I was throwing a few questions at him, and a little bit of weird ones. But sorry about the frogs, everybody, too. But throwing a bit of weird ones at him. But most of all, they believe it all.
Well, thanks for meeting Rob. It's Australia is great. Friday afternoons we do a show on YouTube called the Flat Earth Friday Fringecast, and usually it's Rob with birds. When we go to Rob, he's usually got probably a few dozen birds in the background squawking and carrying on. But here we are 12 hours earlier for our first show in the morning, and Rob is out there. It's nighttime for him. So now he has got crickets.
That's it. We get a different ambiance.
I mean, he's got everything. He's great. I love it. But maybe not.
I live in the sticks. Hey, oh, he's quieting down for me too. Look at that.
There you go. Well, it looks like one of the things definitely they're planning on here, as always, they can't grab the guns immediately, so they'll just enact more stringent security measures. I mean, there's already stars on Twitter backing this idea that we need these security measures. It'll be something everybody get used to, having these security scanners and these back scanners in places that you normally wouldn't have them. I mean, casinos is probably going to be the first place, casino, hotels, that kind of thing, but I'm sure it won't be long before malls, schools, you'll literally be getting your daily dose of radiation. I mean, these backscatter x-ray machines that were being used in almost every airport have been pulled in quite a few. They're just kind of sitting on the sidelines. Somebody's got to use them somewhere. They were definitely found to cause some cancer in some people. They were definitely causing high levels of radiation. So they were pulled out of use. And so I guess this is a plan to put some of them into action. In fact, it seems like that 4chan... Oh, I found it. There we go. He actually talked about that in his next post, that if the plan was successful, that would be something that Chertoff would, the guy's Department of Security and Homeland, Michael Chertoff, would be behind this idea. And he's actually kind of tight with Sheldon Adelson there in Vegas, and they'll both profit highly on that if these machines are placed into some casinos. Hey, you know who else owns a casino there in Vegas? Anyone?
I would
Come on, McFly. Would it be Trump by any chance?
I'd say there's got to be a Trump hotel somewhere.
Of course there is. I bet our good old Prez will have his machine in there. He'll be a good, upstanding American citizen and make us all secure. He'll be the leading example. Oh, my goodness. Sorry, I'm getting irate again. Go ahead, Rob. You carry on for a moment.
When do you think normal people who don't think the way we do are going to start bearing up and going, this doesn't... Why do we need all this security? When are they going to bear up? What is it? You know what I mean?
Well, I think that it happens slowly but surely. And I think that's one of the reasons we are all here right now at this moment. Why we all joined and started Iron Realm Media. Because we want to be able to get our voice out there. We want to intercept that narrative. If we can get that bug in their ear before these false flags happen, that's going to create those questions when it does. So I think it's happening. I think, like I said, I think there are a lot of people waking up based purely on what happened in Las Vegas because they're not buying it. But I think because of what Truth Frequency Radio does and getting so many great hosts out there and getting so much great information out there that we're able to intercept this, and we're helping create these questions. How do we wake them up? We're doing it right now, right as we speak. Just by speaking, we are waking people up. Granted, there's probably not too many people listening live at this time, but my money's on the downloads. I think they're all going to download this on the TFR archives.
Well, I know some people right now, their thought process is, hey, I'm not a gun person. I don't have guns. I don't care about guns. So this won't affect me. Go ahead, take guns. What does it matter? And it doesn't affect me. I don't go to casinos. It doesn't affect me. I'm not an air traveler, so I don't have to worry about the back scanners. And, well, it's actually going to affect a lot of people. Which one?
What do you think's safer? Do you think the house that has the gun in it is safer than the house without it? And I'm talking about, like, in Australia, I don't have to worry about my next door neighbour coming over here with a gun because he doesn't have one either. Like, very rare. So
criminals
am I safer because I don't have guns in my house?
Well, that's my question.
Are you safer because you've got one and you know the next door neighbour's got one and he knows you've got one? Are you safer then, or what?
I would say
I'm not worried about my neighbor. I'm worried about the guy that is down the road, and he's the guy who's the criminal element that
in
has
Texas,
the gun.
In Texas, I'll throw Texas out there because I think everyone in Texas has got one. But if you break into a house in Texas, you're gonna get shot. How many break-ins are there in Texas?
There's open carry here in Louisiana as well.
And that's all I'm saying. Where would you rather live? Would you rather live in a place that the next door neighbour's got a gun?
I am quite secure living right where I'm at.
Would you rather live in a place where no one's got a gun?
No, I'm happy where I'm at. Yes, sir. Because as soon as we don't have a way to protect us from them, that's when it's pretty much over. And I know that sounds like lunacy, tinfoil hatter talking when you say them, but there are people out there who have a psychotic agenda against us.
Who's in a country who hasn't had guns for a long time. And I have never had a problem. I've never needed a gun. I've never had someone break into my house and needed a gun.
All right.
Australia's a pretty nice place to live in. And, it's a pretty nice place to live in. There's not much. The last 10 years it's got a little bit worse, I suppose, where I live, but I don't need a gun. But hey.
So that's what I'm asking. There's no criminals. There's no crime rate. I mean, what's it like? I'm actually honestly asking. I'm not being facetious. Is there a low crime rate? Do you feel secure in the areas?
Violent crime, yes.
There
is definitely a low violent crime. There's a lot of break-ins now. We've got a problem with juveniles and adolescents breaking into people's houses, stealing cars at the moment. But violent crime, no, you get your odd murder here and there. In where I live, 1 or 2 a year where I live.
And I am not a gun person. I wasn't. I mean, I wasn't a big hunter growing up. I didn't enjoy guns. I wasn't a person who had shotguns and rifles and all that.
And for
I had friends who
were.
I've shot many a weapon. I know how to handle weapons, but I don't.
For all the listeners on TFR, I'm not being smart there. I'm not being either way. I mean, Americans should. If they want their guns, they should have their guns. That doesn't really affect me or bother me at all. But I'm just asking the question, because I'm from a country that doesn't have them. It doesn't bother me not having them.
Well,
Rob,
ahead,
I want to call you out a little bit there, Rob. I want to call BS because I think that Australia has guns. So when you say Australia doesn't have them, I call BS. I think
we have them. Obviously, we have them, but you're only allowed to have them if you're a part of a gun club.
Rob,
they must be locked in a safe.
Rob,
yeah.
If somebody is going to shoot you with a gun, right? If they're going to commit murder, do you think they give two shakes about the gun laws? Right.
What it stops is the bloke whose wife might have cheated on him And if he's not allowed to own a gun in the first place, then he won't have
now you're definitely in an area where I'm going to have to call you on that one. That person in that fit of emotional rage will pick up a blunt object.
Exactly right.
They'll grab
right. He'll use something else.
a heavy lamp. They'll do whatever it takes. That anger, that rage, that whatever it takes for a person in that emotional state to do that act has nothing to do with access to a gun. And I've looked into the Rex 84. I've looked into the laws that have been passed. I know the freedoms that have been taken away from us. They can, at this point, walk through my door, no warrant, no knock, bust it down and come in. That is now the law in my country. So in a country where that's the law, I feel a little more secure knowing that I have something to back me up if I need to. And the people that I know that are safe with guns, that are trained with guns, that are people who take care of their guns, that's the people I know. So I don't have that element in my life, I guess, that causes me to have a bad attitude about them. I can't say that them taking them from us is a plan that works for me. Especially when I know that in my state, I've driven past a FEMA camp with razor wire pointed inward, just sitting there, waiting, seen it with my eyes. They exist. This isn't a theory. It isn't maybe. I've seen them. They're real.
I've had guns my whole life. I think I had a BB gun in my hands by the time I was like 6 or 7. I was shooting shotguns before I was 10. I mean, I don't think I've ever been unarmed. I don't think I've ever not owned at least some sort of firearm. That being said, I've never been involved in any sort of violent altercation, minus the occasional fist fight in high school. It's never been an issue. But again, I live in sort of the country, sort of the breadbasket of the U.S., dead square in the Midwest, right outside St. Louis. So guns are pretty common around here. Not Texas common, but we do have an open carry. We do have a lot of guns. I know a lot of people here in Missouri that are collectors that, 30 long rifles, not much of a collection really. I mean, what that guy had in his hotel room, as much as people want to balk at that and raise their eyebrows at 30 guns all at once, that's really not much of a collection to a lot of the people that I've hung out with. It really is.
Indeed.
A lot of people I know have 1,000 rounds of ammo almost in each room they have. So it's such a weird culture that
I reckon I know maybe 4 or 5 people that own a gun out of everyone that I know, and I've lived here my whole life. The town I'm in, fairly big town. I know maybe 4 or 5 people that own a gun, and none of them would actually use them. They would just be in there safe where they must be kept.
I've never seen a single gun hurt someone. I've never met a single gun that has hurt someone. I've never heard
I'm with you. I think everyone should be allowed to own one. But yeah.
Because for a carpenter, they have hammers. I mean, it's a tool. You can't take a car away based on drunk drivers, because drunk driving kills far more people than guns ever will. Well, that's probably not true based on war and government. If you take out government violence, drunk driving will kill far more people than private individual gun violence. But you can't take cars away because it's not necessarily the tool that they're using. It's the person that's using the tool. The tool itself is, inert. It doesn't do anything. It just sort of sits there unless someone grabs it and uses it, whether it's a car or a hammer or an AR-15. That being said, you can build AR-15s, ghost AR-15s, legally that just can't be traced. You can buy a 3D printer, I'm sure, even in Australia, and print out a gun. So owning guns, getting guns is not an issue. If you want to have a gun, you will get a gun. If you want to get a gun and kill as many people with it as you possibly can, you're going to do that. I don't care who you are. I don't care how many guns the government takes away or how many laws the government legislates. You can't legislate crazy. If you are crazy and you want to kill people, you are going to do just that, whether it's a gun or a knife or a car or a hammer or your two fists, and you just start swinging them until they stop you. If you want to hurt people, you're going to do it, and that's the issue. Guns are not the issue. It's the crazy. It's the psychopathic, sociopathic behavior that's being bred into people through society. I think that's nothing to do with the guns. But that's me, because I've lived in the culture. I've seen that gun culture, and it really is a different sort of philosophy and mindset than the average person who doesn't collect guns or shoot guns. But you're right, Rob. The guy shooting that AK-47, it takes a lot out of you to shoot high-powered rifles, because it takes a lot of muscle control. So when you just
I thought I heard it was only 9 minutes. Well, I heard you say earlier on it was an hour of shooting. I thought the official time was like 9 minutes.
Yeah, I heard 10 to 15.
I've seen different reports. I've seen that he broke the windows out an hour into this whole thing. At that point, in a secure casino hotel, there would have been some type of alert that would have hit the system that would have let people know those windows have been broken out. So they've timed this whole thing together with their little timeline, and in some of them they show, like you said, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. In others, it's going on for 30 minutes. The inconsistencies is another thing. The night it was happening, I listened to a police scanner say that they had taken another suspect. Well, first there was reports of 2 suspects. Then there was another suspect that had been taken into custody in some valley. When they said the name of the valley, it was very inaudible. The static on the police scanner made it inaudible. But we have another suspect connected to the shooting in custody in some such valley. There was also talk of the girlfriend going to her home that first night to go check her out. Then there's footage of at least 2 different sources I've seen that clearly show muzzle flashes somewhere around the 4th floor, close to the middle of the hotel, very low. That would be a much better shooting vantage point for the alleged types of wounds that were hitting this crowd. Because shooting an AK-47 to 600 yards from the height he was shooting it, these bullets would have been tumbling and falling into the crowd more than anything else. And again, I'm not a big gun guy, but I do know a little bit about ballistics. And the position he was in would have been horrendous. There's theories that he went up there to make a gun deal, that he is an undercover gun dealer for actually the CIA, of course. That's always tends to be the alphabets behind a lot of these things. And that this was a plan to sell arms, and that he was going to sell these arms to ISIS. And that this became known, and that they then got into the room, and they're the ones that allegedly made this shooting happen. Again, these are all things that are just theories that are out there. Definitely the shots being fired from the 4th floor are not being addressed by the police. They aren't being addressed in the media. I've seen the footage. This lady is a cab driver. She's sitting there in front of the hotel waiting for a pickup, like they line up in front of the hotel. She hears the shooting. She doesn't know what's going on. She's asking people. Then her dispatcher calls over the radio and tells her what's going on. She starts to drive out of there. She kind of tells some people at the front, hey, they're shooting. Nobody cares. Nobody's acting like anything's going on. It sounds very weird and hollow and echoey, almost like something being sent over a sound system or a loudspeaker system. She then pulls out front. She's videoing this whole time on her cell phone. She looks up at the hotel with her cell phone, and there are obvious muzzle flashes occurring on the 4th floor, far below the 32nd floor that Mr. Stephen Paddock occupied. So again, these things aren't being addressed. Just that alone should raise eyebrows and cause people to go digging into this thing at a level that is not being done, and not just accept the party line of what the cops are saying. I'm sorry, the police officers.
Yeah, I saw reports, I think, that there were silencers, or there was an issue with silence. I think this was something that I saw a lot of the politicians the next day. That was sort of their party line. That was their narrative that they were pushing, was they needed to get rid of all these silencers, as if the silencers somehow played some sort of role in all of this. And I think maybe they were supposed to, or that was going to be the story that they put out. But for some reason, the whole silencer story got pushed away or something for some reason. But the silencers were never an issue, but there were still a lot of politicians out there pushing this agenda on the silencers. And maybe they were getting the flash reducers, the muzzle stuff, muzzle brakes confused with an actual noise suppressor. I'm not sure, but I noticed for the first few days, there just seemed to be this strange narrative about silencers that I'm not sure where it was coming from, that I just thought seemed pretty unusual.
As far as the timeline, again, in my rage and overzealousness about this whole topic, I tend to get a little emotional about it. So the hour that I was speaking of is the time it took for them to find this guy and allegedly get to him before he shot himself. From the time he broke the windows and began firing in a hotel room, muzzle smoke is very, very much thick and would have set off the system in the room. Now, perhaps he disabled it. That could be something. But the shots being fired, there had to be other people in that hotel. There had to be other people in rooms below, above, near, somewhere. There's no way they didn't know where he was for an hour. That part is another thing that doesn't make any sense. That it took them an hour to get to him in Vegas, where everything is covered 24 hours a day. It's more surveilled there than it is in New York, probably.
And I heard that he was shot by a member of the SWAT team. And I heard he was shot by one of the security guards there at the hotel. And I heard he committed suicide. So,
exactly. And Alex Jones had a death picture of him on Twitter within minutes. How did Alex Jones get that picture? Unless he's tied into some of this somehow.
You can assume that he's probably got some insider information somewhere. Somebody's sending him information somewhere. He's a pretty big name out there. If you are looking into conspiracies, you're going to run across Alex Jones. He's put out there for a reason, so I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's fed info for a reason. So that definitely wouldn't surprise me. But I did see that it was scrubbed pretty quick, just like that interview with the girl that was told that she was going to die that night.
Yes,
I saw that interview got scrubbed relatively quickly too.
I have it downloaded.
Do you? Yeah, so do I. I saw a good high-quality version put up, so I snatched it as quick as I could.
I've got all of my buddies' best performances downloaded.
So, yeah, every time one of these false flags happens, I highly recommend people just download as much footage as you can.
As soon as you see it. As soon as you see the story, download it and save it. Get it off the internet. They will.
Yeah, grab an external hard drive, take a Sharpie and mark it with whatever false flag you're going to put on there, and just dump as much info on that false flag on that hard drive as you can, and then disconnect it. Keep it off the internet and keep it stored away somewhere safe that you can access sort of offline to look at. That way it's going to get wiped from somebody else.
Unfortunately, this also has other ramifications that are going to affect all of us at Iron Rim Media, all of us here at Truth Frequency Radio, all of us who consider ourselves truthers. YouTube, as of this afternoon, has now changed its powerful search algorithm to promote videos from more mainstream news outlets in search results after people looking for details on the Las Vegas shooting were served up conspiracy theories and misinformation. They confirmed this today. They didn't say exactly how it's going to be put out there exactly, but it's tied into this, that people are searching for this, and it's coming up with false flag, hoax, things like that. So I guess the video we put up to promote our show tonight is going to get either taken down or flagged or whatever they're doing, because I definitely tagged it with false flag, Las Vegas shooting, Stephen Paddock. I mean, this is what we're talking about, so I definitely wanted people to be able to find our show tonight. So that's something I was just finding as I was looking for more information on Mr. Paddock. So yeah, it's going to affect us all, even if you're not a gun person, even if you're not tied into casinos in some way, even if you're not going to profit from this in some way. It's going to affect your pocketbook if you make money on YouTube. Definitely.
Rob, are you still with us?
Yeah, still listening. You guys are going great. I was going to say, I've seen some Gene Rosen memes going around where Paddock was supposed to be Gene Rosen. Have you seen those ones?
Not yet. No, that's great.
I saw that.
Well, it's not him. They look like two different guys to me. So
You guys, tell everybody who Gene Rosen is.
Put that one to bed.
Has into the Sandy Hook.
Gene Rosen's he's the old guy that nursed the six children when they left the. And somehow those kids got out of the school. No one else did, but those kids got out of the school. Waited at the front of Gene Rosen's house. He came out and fed them, and yes, very sickly looking. Just he makes your skin crawl just looking at him. But no, he's nothing to do with Paddock. I don't think.
No.
There's been I saw a couple of links to Gene Rosen from him. I thought were a bit strange, but.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of maybe a slight similarity.
There's a slight similarity, but no.
The ears look a little bit similar, but the nose is off. I mean, there's a few things when you're doing that sort of facial recognition, a few things that you can look at that are really hard to change on, like plastic surgery and things like that. Sweet. So we've got about 30 seconds left for the last half of the show, last quarter of the show, the third half of the show.
Do that math.
So as soon as we get back, we're going to just try to figure out exactly what's up next for the Ironworx. So stay tuned. My name is Josh Corey. You're listening to the Ironworx on Truth Frequency Radio.
Real people, real radio. Wherever you are, make it TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Josh Corey. You're listening to the Ironworx on Truth Frequency Radio. I'm joined with my co-host, Walt Johnson. Walt, say hi.
Hi. I'm sorry. I think you're probably as stunned as I am by our little musical bumper there. That's what I was laughing about anyway.
I wasn't stunned. I chose that one specifically.
I was taken aback.
Selection music.
That was hilarious. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful. Oh, great. Rob, how are you doing, sir? Spinning around down there. Are you holding on to that spinny space pair?
Fine. I just watched the bottom of the Southern Cross dip below the hills here.
There's something I want to do.
Lovely night.
I want to find out what time you're seeing that thing, and then we're going to get our buddy in in South America to find out what time they're seeing it. Because when I checked on time and date, everybody's seeing that thing about 6 hours apart from South America and Australia. And then another 6 hours on around. It's about 12 hours apart if you're on each side of this whole scenario again. But let's not get flat. Let's go back to Vegas because that's what we're talking about.
Before we do that, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our boy Billy Ray Valentine, host of the Infinite Fringe, right here on Truth Frequency Radio. You can check him out tomorrow at 3 p.m. Billy Ray, yeah, we'll be co-hosting. I'm not entirely sure what we're doing tomorrow, but I'm sure he'll fill me in. But we're there every week on Saturday, 3 p.m. Pacific, right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFR Live, iHeartRadio.com. So check us out there. Also, it's Friday, so you can check Iron Rail Media out on YouTube for the Flat Earth Friday Fringecast at 10 p.m. GMT. That would be, 2 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Central. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Also, Ben Hameen, co-hosting with Billy Ray Valentine on the Infinite Fringe. Big shout out to our boy Ben Hameen. He's out there working. He's a wrestler out there wrestling, hitting the mats. So I wanted to give a shout out to him as well. Now we can get back to the good old false flag BS that's been going on in Las Vegas.
I actually haven't been following them. There's been so many actually it hasn't been one for quite a while now, but there was a spate of them, wasn't there, over a couple of years? It was every few days there was. And they were so hard to keep up with, and they're only small ones, and like the Pulse nightclub shooting, and not small, but if you know what I mean, they were not as major as this one, and there was just so many you just couldn't keep up with them. But I've actually got an interest in this one. I think the world got a bit of an interest in this one. You agree?
Well, they've kicked it up to be the biggest one yet. I mean, that's their whole, agenda. When I went to bed, finally about 6 that morning, there were 2 dead and about 54 wounded. That's the count when I went to bed. When I woke up, it had escalated to the numbers we're seeing now, more than 50 and 500 plus. So it's, and what's very frustrating.
Because it's nighttime there, you can't see much, can you? You can't. All these people's cameras, you can't really see what's going on. You can hear in a few videos of people shouting out words like they're fake bullets. I think I heard on one video. Have you seen that one?
I think I have.
It was probably after 20, 30 seconds of shooting. This person probably realised there was no one falling over, or there was no one. Or maybe they didn't sound like real bullets, and he said they yelled out they're fake bullets.
Yep, that's exactly right. They sound like blanks. They're blanks.
Yeah.
Did you see the guy standing up with his arms out, pounding on his chest, yelling a very obscene word, telling them, get me, because he could obviously hear that they were fake as well.
Oh, right. No. It's, very, 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 very hard to see because it was so dark, and it's, pretty frustrating actually trying to work out what's going on, and you just can't see anything. I
think one of the very telling things is the stories I've heard of people saying that there were people just a mad dash towards the door, that they were watching the concert, and all of a sudden people just started running towards the exit, saying there's somebody shooting, and then gunshots happened. Which I think is sort of one of the ways that they do their whole drill scenarios, is that they're going to throw these people performing the drill, and to make it look like a real life scenario, they just make it go live amongst people that don't know what's going on. So they're creating the idea that there's this live active shooter by pretending that there's a live active shooter. I'm going to fall down. They're going to put gunshots over the loudspeaker. I'm going to pretend to get shot. And 300 people that see this are going to freak out, and they're all going to take off running. And we're going to do the drill.
Are you 100% no one died here?
Oh no.
Never.
Never, no.
Yeah, you put me 100%. There's not much I'm 100% on for anything.
And that's something about false flags.
90. I'll say 95% then. Are you 95? I reckon I'd be close to 95. Just with the bad acting.
But I see bad acting goes hand in hand with the false flags. I don't know that it was a hoax. I'm not willing to say that this is a hoax event.
Thank you.
I think it's a false flag. I think they're going to say the flag that they're putting up there is this Paddock guy, and that's what makes it a false flag, because they're saying this is the guy, this is the flag of the person who did it. But in reality, it's somebody else that did it. But they're putting out the false flag of somebody else. I would almost say that I'm more 90% sure that people died. I'm probably more along the lines that they had, whether they're Mossad agents or they're private contractors or CIA agents. But my guess is it was kind of more akin to the Aurora shooting, where people came in and did a bunch of shooting, and then they just plopped some guy in and said, oh, here's the guy that did it. And that's just sort of the way they do it. This guy they've managed to kill, whereas maybe some of the other patsies they've not managed to kill, or they could sort of chemically pith them so that they're completely unable to defend themselves in court. And just, but you've seen I think the Aurora shooter looked like he was pretty drugged up.
Oh, was he? Definitely. Another frustrating thing is when I keep hearing this whole, the largest massacre ever to occur in America. I'm sorry, people. December 29th. 1890, at Wounded Knee, 300 Native Americans were killed. That is the biggest massacre that ever occurred on American soil. Sorry, I get a little irate when people don't know their facts.
Well, because it doesn't count.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I didn't want to sound like a jerk.
Mass murder doesn't count if you get to call yourself government. If you're the government, then you can kill as many people as you want, and you don't have to tally them up on a mass murder scale like the Paddock guy here does. As long as you're doing it under your public office, then it doesn't. Or if you can get a nice young teenage boy to go kill brown people for you, that doesn't count either. Only if you're working in the private sector, taking lives on your own time, is it mass murder. If you can do it on the public's dole, then it's just called war or public policy, or call it whatever politicians use. They have all kinds of nifty freaking vocabulary for mass murder other than calling it what it is.
Unfortunately true.
Salamo says that in chat says nothing has changed save perhaps the number of people realizing that something is not right. And that number is not anywhere near what people want to believe. And that is
true.
The greatest barrier to truth is what people want to believe. And that's absolutely true. And being flat earthers, we see that bantied about from both sides. Yes, Salamo, this is live. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Welcome. We're glad to have you with us. We appreciate you tuning in for sure.
We are Truth Radio's newest show called the Ironworx. We are.
Do we have a chat going on the radio? Forgive me because I don't know much about the live side of this show. I've watched plenty of Jaron and Rob Skeeber and the likes, but first for me. So is there? Can we see people chatting about it?
Absolutely. If you happen to mosey on over to tfrlive.com and hit that drop-down menu, you can find the chat room where there's live chat. So, yeah, we have Salamo, and actually we're familiar with Salamo. Salamo listens to The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray and I, so I am not completely unfamiliar with Salamo. So thanks for joining us this morning. It is very early. Yeah, I had to wake up at 3:15 this morning, so I could hop down here and get online by 4. So it is pretty early here.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, no kid. I bet it's great for you having to deal Fridays trying to jump on with us on the Iron Realm on YouTube.
Yes, I get a bit tired sometimes, and you'll hear that in my voice. After a couple of coffees, I'm usually right. But
right, I was about to say, it's all about the caffeine, Rob. I've got so much caffeine now, I'll probably still be awake for our show tonight on Flat Earth Friday Fringecast, my brother.
I will go to bed very, very shortly. As soon as we're done here, and might even watch some Netflix. How's that?
Yeah, I might be able to get maybe a half an hour nap before I got to get up and go to work. But chances are I'll just stay up. This being our very first show, our debut.
The adrenaline at this point, I doubt I will sleep. So it's exciting. I'm so glad. Shout out to Chris again. Thanks, Chris. We're glad you got us in here, friend.
Something I was going to say, but was you noticed that the dates, like I think the 23rd of September was supposed to be a significant date. They never ever happen nothing really happens on the days that they mention, do they?
Not the big life, not the asteroids hitting the ball, or not the end of days.
You hear over in the conspiracy world they say the 23rd of September that's a big
every
day
year.
For they never. I haven't seen one yet happen on the day that they're calling something's going to happen. Haven't seen it yet.
For some reason, I feel like that's a barometer. Sort of one of those markers that they put out there. Like the theory that chemtrails are sort of the visualization for HAARP. That way they can see the effects of HAARP, so they spray the chemtrails. I think stories like this End of the World on September 23rd are the little markers that they put out there on the internet to see how far this narrative will travel, to see how far they can get it, and to see who's passing it along and who's listening and who's not buying it. And it's because you're right, nothing has ever happened. There's always been sort of the same kind of weird, crazy stuff narrative pushed before, and then it's complete nothing. So, yeah, I think it's just sort of these markers that they put out there because.
Well, it's always tied into some type of either pagan, ancient ritual or some type of, unfortunately, satanic ritual type dates. September 23rd is usually around the 22nd, 23rd. Around that time is when the autumn equinox is always kicking off. So that's part of their drive for energy, because that's what a lot of these rituals and things they are partaking in are all about, is the energy that it gets them. And again, people either do or don't in this type of thing, believe or not. That being said, the people who are in control, they do believe, and they're using these rituals. And that's something we're going to talk about on a future episode, definitely. Some of the darker sides of our leaders' worlds and some of the ritualistic type things they do for power and how it ties into these dates. September 11th, again, a date that has had lots of significance prior and after September 11th. It is a pagan holiday as well. So there's usually some type of energy they're trying to acquire, getting everybody focused on a certain date, gets everybody's energy focused on that date. Everybody's putting their energy on that date. So whatever it is they're creating, whether we find out about it on a grand false flag scale or whether it's something they're doing behind doors at the Bohemian Grove or in a hotel room in Las Vegas, who knows? But it's usually something we're not going to find out about, and if we do, we're not going to be happy about it for darn sure.
That's absolutely true. So I want to give a big shout out to Regular Girl out there in chat. I see she's on too. Thanks, Regular Girl. She really liked the intro of ourselves. Apparently we're getting a pretty good response for having a live show at this time, which really makes me feel good because I was so worried that we would be just playing to the crickets out there. So
playing to Rob's frogs.
That's right, playing to Rob's frogs. So anybody?
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry. Okay, sorry about the frogs.
No, I'm not at all, brother. Not fussing. That's awesome.
We don't mind the frogs, Rob. I'll take the frogs with you anytime. I'd rather have you with the frogs than not you at all. So it's worth it.
Oh, that's lovely.
Well,
lovely.
Isn't it lovely? That's all we are here at IRM. Nothing.
Well, thanks, Regular Girl. I actually am not in the chat at the moment. I get sidetracked when I start reading chat, so I'll try to get into that next show and pay attention to it with you guys. But I appreciate knowing you're out there and that you've been listening. We thank you and we appreciate it. Hope to hear you here next Tuesday morning.
And this is one of those reasons. I know I'm not going to be.
There are people.
Sorry, Rob. Give me just a second. Is it because I am out of my chair? I'm standing up doing the show, which is pretty unusual for me. Usually I'm kicked back in the chair, and it's going on 6 o'clock in the morning, and I am up and moving about. So chances are I am not headed to bed after this, and I'll be heading straight to work when I'm no sleep. So that should be fun.
Yes, I've been walking around. I'm trying to get away from the frogs for the last half hour. So I'm out in the backyard trying to get away. Yeah. But no, I'm sure there's people up at this time of the morning. I'm sure hopefully they're enjoying what they're hearing here for the first time from us anyway.
So, Rob, were you lucky enough to catch the big moonrise last night?
I'm watching the moon right now, mate.
Is it happening now? That's true. See, I'm confused. I'm so used to it being night for you and day for me.
It's about 20, 30 degrees in the sky right now.
How big is it?
Bunny rabbit ears up.
There you go. It was beautiful here earlier and quite affecting me. The lunar cycle and I are quite tied together. You can ask my better half. She'll let you know all about my lunacy this time of the month.
And for all the people out there who don't really look at the moon, have a look at the color of the moon, the off color bits. They are always the color of the sky behind it. That can't happen. Can it? It can't happen. It's either blue if it's in the daytime. It's blue. The center of the moon. At the moment, I'm looking at it. I've got it's like a grey, blacky sky because the moon's so bright. And that center of that moon is the grey sort of blacky sort of center.
And is it cloudy there, or do you have a clear sky?
No. Hardly any clouds.
And is there a haze in spite of the clear sky around the moon?
No.
See, that's the first night that happened for me last night, because in the 4 days leading up to this moon, the sun was in its repelling mode, and the moon, it was in its attracting mode. I know this is what I think. Just sun and moon are a positive and negative, part of our electromagnetic system that we live in, but they don't consistently stay one or the other. They change back and forth. On days when I see the sun pushing clouds away from it, literally pushing it away from it, not burning them away, not evaporating them, but burning the edges of huge clouds off in lines just like crepuscular rays. That night, the moon will suck up whatever atmosphere is there. It could be a completely clear sky, and there will still be a slight haze around the moon. And just the opposite, the other half, when it's in the other phases, the moon will then be pushing the clouds away into a big, huge ring around it, while that day the sun will be literally pulling the clouds that are blowing away from it back towards it. So just keep an eye on that. If you watch the sky, you'll see some things that will definitely make you question the reality you've been given.
So this AE model for the flat Earth, where the sun and the moon rotate overhead, even if it's an elliptical path, wouldn't the moon sort of overtake the sun so it goes in front of the sun? Wouldn't we see that solar eclipse where the moon passes in front of the sun? And if we did, why would we then not see the sun through that moon if what we're seeing is the sky through those darker off-color bits of the moon? I'm just asking questions, just throwing that out there, because that did seem a little strange. I mean, trust me, we're living on a stationary plane, but I just never understood, if the moon is transparent and it follows the sun on this elliptical path and it would surely cross in front, then we should be able to see through the moon if it really is transparent. So that's one of those things that's always been a little off for me. Now, Rahu Ketu, that sort of fills in those strange gaps there.
Well, for the eclipses, certainly, but I'm puzzled on parts of this thing as well. Again, working through this, trying to figure it out. We don't have the answers. We have lots and lots of questions.
And I think down here, Walt, is completely different to what you guys see. You know what I mean? In the northern hemisphere plane is different to the southern hemisphere plane, in my opinion. I think we see different things. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to go up there one day, or across there one day.
I will say that Salamo in chat spent 2 years, he says 2 years of two of his indoctrination years in Australia during the 80s. And he is a big fan of Townsville, Rob. So there's at least someone who's aware of your location and a big fan of the city here where you live.
All right. How does he know I was in Townsville? I didn't mention that. Did I?
Check. Yeah.
I don't remember mentioning that.
No, that was me. He asked where in Australia.
All right. Yeah, I do remember you saying that. Yeah. Just don't give out my address. All right.
Right. Well, I was paranoid late at night.
Sure.
Hello to him. Hello, whoever. Yeah, Townsville's lovely spot.
Rob, why don't you go ahead and plug your YouTube channel too, so everybody can check out some of those videos you've been making and some of your awesome still shots that you've got.
It's not that. Well, it's just it's Rob IRM. Rob Dash IRM. Yeah. You can catch me on Twitter at Rob_Freddy. You see a lot more on there. I'll post anything that I like. If I don't like it, I won't post it. That's pretty simple. And if you're a troll, I will block you. That's pretty simple as well. I'm not dealing with trolls. Not worth it. Not worth me heartache.
Well, in upcoming shows, we plan on giving some trolls a little bit of the spotlight. We think they work so hard, they deserve a little time in the sun, so we're going to spotlight a few of their brilliant observations about their lovely spinny space pair that they cling to so desperately. So if you guys have any extra awesome, amazing ballers that you deal with on Twitter, let us know about them. We definitely like to talk to them on Twitter. I always enjoy getting a new take on how this whole crazy system works as we fly through infinity with a atmosphere holding on to the spinny ball.
So I just wanted to round this out real quick, Rob. Salamo says he lived in Darwin and Perth mainly, but he was a big fan. He says north of Queensland was awesome. So that was Salamo's little experience there in Australia. And hopefully
Perth, just for everyone who doesn't know Australia very well, Perth is probably about 5,000 kilometres away from me. And Darwin would be at least 2,500 kilometres away from me, I'd say. It's a big country. Big country, yeah. So there, very, very, it's beautiful. Beautiful Perth. Perth's a beautiful spot. Darwin's hot, but it's beautiful as well.
Sweet. Well, we got a couple minutes left before the end of our very first show here on Truth Frequency Radio. Why don't you tell the listeners where they can find you?
Well, my YouTube channel is Flat Earth Head. That's on YouTube. On Twitter, I am at Facebones777. And like Rob said, I spend a lot of time there on Twitter. That's how we all met and got together in the Iron Realm. I don't spend as much time on Facebook. I do have a Facebook page there under Walt Johnson. I can't remember, but if you look for Flat Earth Head on Facebook, you'll find me there. It's tied into the Iron Realm as well. flat.earth.head@gmail.com, and as always, Iron Realm Media @gmail.com is a way to find me. And then going forward, I'll be here on TFR as well. Thanks again, Chris. We appreciate it, man, and so glad to be here amongst so many great hosts. You guys have been doing a great job, and we are honored to be amongst you.
Yeah, big shout out again to Billy Ray Valentine for helping us network and make these connections with Chris. Had it not been for Billy Ray, I don't think we'd be here. So
absolutely, thank you so much,
Billy Valentine and the Infinite Fringe. So yeah, if you want to find me, you can find me usually on Facebook and Twitter. Joshua Ryan Corey. I am not an author, so if you Google that name and you run across anybody in Google, that's probably not going to be me. If you Google,
hang on a minute, I bought all your books. You tell me that's not you.
I didn't know you were a poetry fan. No, but
I'm gonna have to Amazon them back, I suppose.
Right.
Just tag Iron Realm Media on the back of that Joshua Ryan Corey, and that should narrow down your search enough to find me. But you're better off just searching Iron Realm Media. We're on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. And if you want to contact this show, this very new show here on Truth Frequency Radio, we'll be setting up a Gmail account for the Ironworx. But in the meantime, just go ahead and shoot us an email at ironrealmmedia@gmail.com. So yeah, this is going to round out our very first episode. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us. We are going to get out of here. It is early. I need to get ready for work. Walt needs to finally go to bed. Bob is probably headed to bed soon himself.
Yep.
So thanks
on, and we up early in the morning for our next show.
Awesome. Great. We will see everybody on Tuesday at this very same time. Peace. We love you all.